Hi, it's Tara Green here from the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. I believe that Yulia and I were planning to do this through StreamYard, and I don't know where she is. I hope she's okay. I was waiting for her to come on. I know that people were expecting me to be on. So you can see not in my usual viewpoint here. I'm also on my camera on my phone, so I can't really, hold on a second, I can't really see you. Give me a second here. You know, Mercury retrograde, you know, that kind of thing, right? So I hope that Yulia is okay. Hang on a second. Let me see. I'm going to try to get on the page here. Just give me a second. Hold on a minute. Still not seeing Yulia. Okay, please be patient. You know what? This is Mercury retrograde, you know, in action here. I don't know. I really don't know where Yulia is. Let's see. So please say hi to me. Hang on. I'm going to see if I can do this to get on the Facebook page. At least I can see you as you come on. Hold on a second. Give me a minute here. Hold on a second. I'm going back and forth. Please hang on here, guys. Let's see. Where am I? No, I'm on the wrong page. Give me a second. I'm trying to go to Cosmic Intelligence Agency page. There I am. I can see myself live. Okay. Going back and forth. Please hang on here, guys. Okay, and there's a bit of a sorry, there's a bit of a sorry, a bit of a lag there. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna just turn that down. Okay, guys. So, you know, I've done this before where I'm blind. I don't know what's happened to Yulia. I feel like I have to get going here. So, welcome to this very spontaneous, always in the moment, Cosmic Intelligence Agency October astrology and tarot preview. The show must go on. I have a Leo midheaven. The show must go on, folks. Okay, wait a minute. I don't want to hear myself talking here. But anyway, please say hi. Even though I can't really see you all, you can hear me okay? People, please say hi so I know that you're there. Okay. I'm just seeing a screen here. All right. Okay, let's see. Can we see me there? Okay. All right. So if you haven't been here before, Cosmic Intelligence Agency fans, Facebook fans, whoever you've gotten here, I'm Agent 129, Tara Green of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency up in Toronto, Canada. So I know you tune in from all over the world. So the way this works is I usually read out, I give you a big overview of all the most powerful aspects of the month, and there's lots of them. This month could be a very busy month. And then I use my tarot cards here. I'm using my big, large Rider-Waite Smith deck. This is my teaching deck. Okay, and we're going to talk about moving from the month of Libra into the month of Scorpio. Okay, so you're going to have to wait for that. Okay, so without further ado, now we all know Mercury is retrograde, right? In Libra until October the 18th. So Mercury is moving from 26 degrees Libra to 10 degrees. Okay, so if you have planets in that zone, you know, you're going to be especially affected. But of course, Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, so they especially feel this retrograde, you know. But it's a good thing. You know, Mercury retrograde is a good thing. You know, the symbol for Mercury retrograde is a big capital R and a little X, and that is a prescription. So it is good medicine. So it's time to give your brain a break. It could be a good time to get off social media as well, okay, if you can. I know Libra, you know, you always need to be needed and connected, and I have 4 planets in Libra, so I know that too. All right, now, October the 18th is a big day because both Mercury and Jupiter turn direct on the same day. And that seems quite rare to me. Okay, so that's a day to really, boom, you know, sort of launch something, you know, Jupiter turning direct. Okay, the new moon this month is in Libra as well, October the 6th, with Mars conjunct the sun and the moon exactly at 13 degrees Libra. So please take note, if you know your chart, you have anything within, I would say, 2 degrees, like 11 to 15 degrees Libra or Capricorn, Cancer, and Aries, you will be powerfully affected by that new moon. And it is opposed to Chiron in Aries. And again, Pluto's turning direct. So it's like a big Scorpio, you know, blast off there. The full moon is in Aries, October the 29th at 27 degrees of Aries. Again, very martial. Conjunct Eris in Aries with Mars conjunct the sun and all squaring Pluto. So it's kind of the big red letter days, you know, that's kind of dangerous as well, red flags. Venus changes sign. She will leave Scorpio and enter Sagittarius on October 6th and the 7th, depending on what time zone you're in. Okay. Mars enters Scorpio, goes home, where it's really the strongest, October the 30th, just in time for Halloween there. Jupiter turns direct again October the 18th. Saturn turns direct October the 6th at 6 degrees plus, and it's been retrograde since May 23rd at 13 degrees Aquarius. So again, if you have planets in that zone from 22 degrees back from 2 degrees of Pisces, you will be feeling that like suddenly we can move ahead. And then it'll take Jupiter. Sorry, did I just jump from Saturn to Jupiter? It'll take till January 2022 till Jupiter moves and bypasses that energy. Okay, Saturn turned direct October the 6th, 6 degrees since May 23rd at 13 degrees again, Aquarius. So if you've had planets 13 to 6 degrees Aquarius, you will have felt that Saturn, obstacles, restrictions, limitations, testing, maturity. And now you can begin to go ahead as Saturn. So, make sure you get all your ducks in place to move ahead, the lead ducks. Okay. Pluto also turns direct again, October the 6th at 24 degrees of Capricorn. It's been retrograde since April 27th, also at 26. So Pluto doesn't move very much. It's slow, it's heavy, it's intense. But again, to have all these planets suddenly go boom, for planets going direct, you're going to feel a big bolt of energy. And I think a lot of people have been feeling very tired because retrograde planets, it's a very inward time. And in the Northern Hemisphere, of course, we're going into that inward autumn, winter time of year. Ceres also turns retrograde October the 9th at 12 degrees of Gemini. So now I'm going to go through each day when there's a major aspect to let you know about that. Okay, so note these. Okay, so the month starts off with a bit of a painful indicator to rebalance relationships because Mars in Libra opposes Chiron in Aries and Mercury squares Pluto with Mercury retrograde. That's imbalances and kind of mind games and things like that, right? Okay. On the 2nd, Venus and Scorpio and Pluto sextile each other. So that's a very nice, good day for sexting. Sex, power, and obsession comes very easily. And you can also use your X-ray vision to kind of look right through things. Okay. On the 3rd, the Sun opposes Chiron in Aries. Again, the wounded, toxic masculine is exposed in the light, which is a good thing. Okay. Chiron in Aries, very defensive. He's the warrior. He doesn't want to take down those walls, to be vulnerable, but really that's where the greatest strength is in the vulnerability. Mercury trines Jupiter on the 3rd. That's a very good aspect for dating, for wild inspirations, for thinking outside the box. Retrograde, maybe going back and picking up some old idea that you had. Working with groups of people you've been with before. That's a good positive day. On the 5th, Mercury retrograde in conjunct Neptune and Pisces. So this is a kind of a romantic soulmate kind of dreams popping like bubbles, champagne bubbles popping, but it could be a good thing because you're going to see what's really going on. Okay. October the 6th, that new moon, 13 degrees Libra conjunct Mars, exactly opposite Chiron in Aries. Venus is also at the 29th degree of Scorpio, so extremely powerful new moon. Venus is what's called the final dispositor. She's the one with the most power, ruling Libra on the new moon. Mars also in conjunct Uranus and Taurus. That's a crypto rebalance for people who watch cryptocurrencies. Financial chaos. Pluto turning direct, unleashing its power. Sun in conjunct Uranus and Taurus. Underlying financial chaos, I would say that is a major day. And remember, if you follow the markets, the stock market always crashes in October. October the 6th, Venus enters Sag. So woohoo! Time for honesty and adventure, and gotta love those Sagittarians. Until November the 5th or the 6th, honesty is the best value at this point. Okay, and if you want to travel, of course, you've been dreaming about travel, maybe this is a good time to plan that and to do it. Or teaching, or publishing, all of those good things. October the 7th, 8th, Sun conjunct Mars at 15 degrees Libra, and it's a Mars cazimi. So when any planet sits in the heart of the Sun, that's a very special, auspicious thing. So that's a great day for rituals, for talisman making, especially if you're in Aries, Mars conjunct the Sun, even though Mars right now is in detriment in Libra. It's kind of interesting. It really is a big Libra, Aries, I would say, rebalancing, the divine masculine really kind of being like transmogrified in the heat of the Sun, right? The Sun in Libra. So again, rebalancing of power, of anger, of ambition, of competitiveness, of the toxic masculine, of imbalances in relationships, red flag days, Mars, anger, rebalancing all of that, resettling it all. Okay, on the 9th, the Sun conjuncts Mercury, so another cazimi, so one after the other, Mercury also conjuncts Mars 16 degrees of Libra. So again, if you have planets 15, 16 degrees of Libra, very empowering days for you. You really make sure you take advantage of this because again, planets sitting in the heart of the sun, very auspicious. There's a very tight orb for that, though. They have to be within 15 seconds, I believe, either side of the sun. So you'd have to take note of that. October 10th and 11th, Saturn turns direct again. We mentioned that. October the 11th and 12th, retrograde Mercury quincunxes Uranus, rehashing old ideas. On the 13th, Venus sextiles Saturn in Aquarius. So that's good for Aquarians. Give those Aquarians some love. It's a bit quirky humor, wild truths, and stories. October the 13th and 14th, the Sun in conjuncts Neptune and Pisces. So that's debts, oil prices maybe going through the roof, false flags illuminated, rehab issues need to be faced. So again, if you have planets there, Neptune and Pisces, with the sun, they can't see each other, but things will come up out of the dark. And maybe the sun burns off all the fog of the Neptune Pisces. People go, what the hell is going on here? Okay, October the 15th, the sun trines Jupiter, always a good positive aspect. One of the best energies for breaking free, for innovating, for freedom in relationships. Cryptocurrency is a kind of golden day. Make plans for that. Sun trine Jupiter, very positive. Can be a little bit over the top. The only downside with Jupiter is it could be a little bit, the big fish kind of, you know what I mean? Okay. On the 16th, Venus trines Chiron and Aries. So that's good for bold defensive actions demanding truce. Okay, remember, Venus is in Sag. Got to tell that truth. Justice, okay, justice for the underdogs or veterans, people wounded in wars, things like that. On the 16th, again, Mars in conjuncts Neptune and Pisces. Codependent relationships need to be re-examined. On the 16th, Mercury retrograde sextiles Venus. So again, that could be hearing from that old flame. I know it sounds kind of corny. Distant relationships, kind of, hooking up, things like that, working with international businesses, all of that stuff. Again, as Mercury is changing direction, very powerful. Sun squares Pluto, that's on the 17th. This is a twice a year aspect. It's a heavy one. Justice demanded of plutocrats, relationships, fallout. Pluto rules radioactive substances, so it does relate to fallout very literally. I hope there's no nuclear power leaks or anything like that, because that's definitely a Sun square Pluto aspect as well. Plutocracy, okay? Remember, the sun is still in Libra. October the 17th, the 18th, Jupiter turns direct, again, 22 degrees Aquarius. October the 18th, Mercury turns direct, 10 degrees, okay? Just, if I'm repeating myself, it's just to underline all that. Okay, also on the 18th, Mars trines Jupiter, good for writer's block, launching new relationships. I just got a message saying live issues there. Or legal education matters. Okay, on the 19th, Venus in conjunction Uranus and Taurus. That's an international money market chaos. So if you're in the market of any kind, crypto reevaluations. Venus rules money. So in Sagittarius, that's international. I know China's been cracking down already. Uranus and Taurus, again, rules definitely the cryptocurrency market or even some hacking on the internet. October the 21st and the 22nd. Now, this is a big red letter day, Mars square Pluto. So these two malefics ruling Scorpio, very scorpionic, dangerous day, terrorism attacks, knifing, shootings, injustices, war being declared, warring factions, all that kind of stuff. So be extra mindful on that day. People will be super heated, anger, coming up, right? On the 22nd and 23rd, Sun enters Scorpio. So it's the season of the witch starting. This is a time to really go deep, time for very deep therapy, time to look at what's going on below the surface, money, power, control, secrets, very sexual as well. Death, traditionally the time of death. October 24th, 4th, Mercury in conjunction Uranus in Taurus direct, ideas about how to correct the messes in your finances personally and in the world. Again, hacking, it could be hacking stuff going on. Hostages, also, that's a Mars-Pluto thing, just came into my mind. October 26th, Venus square Neptune. So this is kind of like a mini midlife crisis. It's like stars in your eyes and being in love with love. It's very beautiful, very spiritual, very psychic, very dreaming. Again, Venus and Sag connecting with foreigners, escaping the routine, truth versus fake news, judicial fog or clarity, distrusting the government, demanding justice and protest, all of the above. October the 28th, Venus sextiles Jupiter in Aquarius, rekindling those wild and crazy relationships. Again, educational dreams can come true, high energy, Good for applying for grants for institutions, things like that. Innovation, pioneering, be bold, be daring. On the 30th, Sun squares Saturn Aquarius. So that's a deep dive into innovation. Again, cryptocurrency, freedom through limitations, freedom with limitations. So again, people might be angry, protesting. Remember, the sun is now in Scorpio. You're going to reveal what's going on below the surface. On the 30th, Mars enters Scorpio, its home territory, until December the 13th for a 6-week-long stay. So again, the sun and Mars were going deep into Scorpio territory. Okay. So again, you have to be ready to let go, to let die. Nothing, anything that's not serving you anymore, it's got to go. Okay. So new actions, new passions, new drives, new desires. You want to go for it big time. Okay, so Scorpios, your time very strongly. Gotta love those Scorpios. So your libido will pick up. This is, a testosterone blast here. October the 30th, Mercury in Libra in conjunct Neptune. And Pisces, again, rebalancing codependent relationships. Oil issues, oil's kind of going through the roof. Ocean resources, addictions must be dealt with. Debt rebalancing. We're getting news about inflation, actually. October 31st, it's Halloween. The moon's in Virgo, so it should be quite a grounding, earthy Halloween. Mercury trines Jupiter in Pacific Daylight Time, so again, good for thinking outside the box. Freedom in relationships, new truths, and open-minded fairness. Okay, so I went through all of that already. Okay, so now, I hope you're still there with me. Okay, so now the part that most of you have been waiting for. So I'm going to smudge myself and you virtually the cards. Okay, and okay, again, I'm using my great big Rider-Waite Smith deck here, most popular deck in the world. You can see this one. Okay, all right, and I'm going to use also my special Herkimer diamond crystal that I use to tune into people. So if you want to look at which card is guiding you for October through all of this, your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, even your planets, again, Mars is going to be in Scorpio, you can look for, how those cards that are coming up are going to affect you. So, all right, so I'm going to shuffle the cards, and I'm thinking about Aries. What does Aries need? Now, Mars, of course, is your planet entering Scorpio. It's going to be a real power time for you. All right, so the Aries. Okay, Mars getting out of Libra is a good thing. You've all been feeling kind of blah, I'm sure. Okay, so you get the Death card here. All right, so this is the card of Mars. Speaking of the devil, this is how the tarot works. There you go, live. The tower is Mars. So big shocking revelation, I would say, going on. Be prepared to jump ship, I would say. Also, sorry, my eyes watering here. Be prepared to jump ship. If the structure, the edifice, the old order is not serving you very well, then be prepared to get out of that, So it could be big relationships blow up, your own ego, seeing yourself in a whole new light. If there's something that you've been wanting to do, and of course you've been very frustrated, well, Mars is in Libra, as Mars enters Scorpio, that's a good time to do it, of course. Now, so Mars and Mars and the tower is anger. So any repressed anger that I know has been building up while Mars is in Libra, you got to have a healthy outlet for it. You don't want to just kind of blow your top as, Aries usually does. You want to maybe do this in a bit more of a mindful way. Okay. But the old structure cannot hold. It sounds like that famous slouching towards Bethlehem poem, so blow your mind, in a good way, Aries. Okay, so the old structures are toppling down. This could be your job, your health, relationships. It can apply in many, many different ways. So prepared to go with that energy. Okay, get angry righteously. Get angry in a way that you can help other people. Okay, all right, Aries, you get the tower. Okay, blasting your ego. Okay, a necessary step. Okay, all right. So then we get to Taurus. Now, Taurus, with Venus in Scorpio, it's been very intense for you. Lots of relationship issues, I'm sure, coming up. And then Venus entering Sag is going to definitely shift gears big time. All right, so Taurus, what do you get here? Okay, you get the Hierophant. Okay, so Taurus, this is the number 4, the Hierophant, the King, the Emperor. Number 4 is about power, new inventions, new ideas. You got to set a new foundation, Taurus. Okay, so again, as Venus enters Sag, it could be going back to school. It could be starting a new project. It could be getting a raise, getting a promotion, feeling more mature, definitely a little more upbeat, getting out of that. Venus in Scorpio has been kind of heavy and intense and obsessive. And, for fixed signs, Venus in Scorpio intensifies your stubbornness. Okay. So this is Aries energy. This is you want to act. Okay. Taurus, you want to make sure, again, with all that Uranus and Taurus energy and all the planets changing direction, this lights the fire under you. You want to get something going. So you may be seeing red, literally the Emperor, red. So the red flag is in front of you, Taurus, is you want to move, you want to charge, you want to go, you want to compete, you want to get in the market, okay? So if it's the dating market, the job market, whatever it is you want to do, you want to build a new business, you want to be the boss, Taurus, you own it then, okay? October is going to be a good time. Again, as all those planets move direct, that is your signal to go, okay? Not stop on red, okay? So Geminis. Okay, so Geminis, well, Mercury's retrograde. I know it is harder for you. All right, so Geminis, what do you need here? Okay, so Gemini. Okay, now Gemini gets the card of the Lovers, and Gemini is the Lovers in the tarot. So this is really quite nice. So relationship issues, again, with Mercury and Libra, I'm sure it's been all about past relationships, past connections, hookups, being the go-between in a way, suddenly finding yourself, being the referee, being the ambassador, being very charming, the host or hostess with the mostest or whatever gender you are, very social. So this has been a good time for you, Gemini. Okay, so review, rethink, reconnect, recommunicate, change your thinking style, change the way your brain patterns work while Mercury is retrograde. It's all can be used to your advantage. And just take a time out and reflect. That's, do all the RE things while Mercury is retrograde. So the Lovers, number 6, one of the most positive cards in the deck. Everybody likes to get the Lovers. So, don't be afraid to declare your heart when Mercury is retrograde. You've got a chance to rethink, where do I want to go with this? Okay. It's like if you've been watching The Bachelor, you're at that gateway now. You have to make a decision. So there can be breakups, of course, with Mercury retrograde. And again, as Mercury goes direct, you might come back together again, or you might be people who like to play that game. I'm in, I'm out, I'm back and forth. I don't know. That's a typical Gemini kind of thing. Okay. But the Lovers is about your inner balance, your inner union, the sacred marriage. You have to love yourself. You have to nurture yourself. It's always inner child work. Gemini is like the child, the innocent. So the feminine, traditionally, I know people don't like the genders, but the feminine or the receptive or the intuitive leads, and the masculine or the active acts on that behalf. Okay, so find a sense of wholeness and completeness, Gemini. Okay, the Lovers, gotta love those Geminis, right? Okay, all right. So Cancers. Okay, now Cancer, of course, you always feel the full moons the most. So again, that's going to be very powerful. Full moon this month on the 20th. Okay, and you get the moon. Okay, so we're very synchronous today. You can see this. Cancer ruled by the moon gets the moon, but this is the dark side of the moon. This is not the bright shining face of the moon we see. This is the mysterious hidden moon, which up until the time the Chinese spoiled it all and went to apparently the dark side of the moon and showed us it looks just like the front. This is, dark side of the moon. Yes, you can play that Pink Floyd album, to death. This is related to Pisces. So again, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, all the water signs are interrelated. So this is facing your fears. Okay, so Cancer, what scares you the most? What is your greatest fear? Is it being alone? Is it having no one to nurture? Is it about being an empty nester? Is it about not having enough food, or your housing is insecure? There are lots of people in that situation, being unhoused and losing their jobs and, all this chaos. So it can be a time when you really have to face that fear and somehow have faith. That's Pisces. Have faith, trust, that there's light at the end of the tunnel. It is a kind of rebirth. So with every loss, with every ending, which a lot of people are going through, there is always the hope of a new beginning. So again, are you seeing the darkness or are you seeing the light? And again, you have to go through that dark, narrow, it's a rebirth, literally the baby. I always make the metaphor of it's the baby coming down the birth canal, still connected to the mother, still hearing her heartbeat, not knowing what's going on, still connected spiritually. And kind of all they know is that there is light and protection and safety. So finding that inner security, that inner nurturing, that inner substance, feed yourself. feed yourself. Cancers always are giving themselves away. Okay, so don't be a martyr. This is also about having boundaries when you need to. Okay, so Cancer. Also pay attention to your dreams, of course, because this is the Moon card. And the Moon, of course, rules the unconscious. This could be addictions issues coming up. It's like facing what you haven't wanted to face. It could be dark side issues with your family secrets, skeletons coming up. But you have to kind of, not forgive them if they've done really horrible things, but be strong enough in yourself to deal with it. Okay, you're never alone. Okay, so Cancers, you get the Moon. All right, so Leo. Okay, so Leos, what do you get now? So Leo, all right. Leos get this card here. Now this is the card called the Hierophant or the Pope. What was coming into my mind today was be your own Pope, be your own high priest, be your own Hierophant. This is the time when we're going into being your own authority, having your own inner authority. Okay, so Leo, of course, you are always the king or the queen. You always declare that. You like the drama. You like to be center stage. You're big-hearted. You're generous. You're loyal. You love to have fun. You love to party. That's Leo, right? Strong willpower. So this card here, the Hierophant, can be a card of limitations and doing things the hard way, Leo, only when you're not listening to your higher self. That's what this is all about. It's like a Pope giving the benediction here. The Pope says, listen to your higher self, not to any outside authority. I've been saying this for years, okay? You have to be the one who judges what is best for me in your body. This is Taurus energy, right? Remember, so being very stubborn, holding your ground, knowing what's right for you, and speaking your truth. Remember, the number 5 relates to the 5th chakra. So if you're feeling off balance, Leo, sound those vowels, just A, E, I, O, U. It's really powerful. Anybody can do this. You don't have to be a Leo. You don't have to have your moon in Leo. You don't have to have your rising sign in Leo. You don't even have to have any planets in Leo. You can still do this, okay? You look at where Leo is in your chart, though. So the Hierophant, being strong, having your own values, it's Taurus energy, values relating to the second sign. So reevaluating things as well. Okay, so Taurus, the Hierophant. All right, it's like Venus, related to Venus. The number 5 relates to Venus making the 5-pointed pentagram, the sign of pagans, the upright sign of the pentagram in her 8-year cycle. Okay, so it can mean money, can mean you need to take your power over your money, your finances as well. And anybody who's abusing that, if you're in a position of power, you speak up, you put an end to it. You don't want to keep, again, being the martyr there for some reason, Leo. Okay, the Hierophant. All right, you are the boss, definitely. All right. So Virgos, now as Mercury is retrograde, of course, this also has been dragging you back to take care of the details and worry some more. All right, so Virgos, let's see what you get. Okay, so Virgo, you get the card of Libra here. Now, of course, Mercury is in Libra. So again, this is another, we're very synchronous tonight, as you can see. Now, in some decks, Justice, as you can see, which is the scales of justice, which is Libra, can be number 8 or number 11. That's just 2 different systems, so it really depends on which deck you use. Now, this is the Rider-Waite, also Smith deck for Pamela Smith that painted the deck. It has this as 11, but I use mainly the Thoth Tarot and has it as 8. Anyway, you can see that it's Libra, okay? So Virgo, justice, balance. Make sure you stay in balance. Make sure that you keep things fair. Make sure that you don't drive yourself crazy while Mercury is retrograde, kind of going over and over again the same thing in your head, regurgitating that conversation, what I said, what I didn't say, all of that stuff. If you have any legal issues, this is a good time to initiate them, to take care of them. Also, balance is about relationships, Virgo. So you could find, again, it sounds trite to say, I know, but old flames coming back into your life or rekindling an old flame or relationship, social networking structure, whatever it is, Virgo, that you need. Also your health, making sure your health stays in balance. So again, I'm speaking here being up in the Northern Hemisphere where we're going into autumn, when the seasons change and it's traditionally flu season, you have to change your diet, you have to change the kind of herbs you use. And Virgo works best with natural medicines anytime, okay? So you may have to be a go-between or an ambassador between 2, fighting factions here. It could be family, it could be at work. you need to take sides, but try to be balanced. The whole point right now is to try to stay on the middle path. Everybody's, being forced into these polarity, oppositional forces, but you need to be, boom, the middle path, Virgo. This is the middle way. This is what the Buddha said, middle path. One's not right, one's not wrong, okay? You have to balance those two out, okay? So go for balance in your life. Yeah, and maybe life doesn't seem fair sometimes too. That may be something you have to think about. Okay, so Virgo, justice. All right, so now Libra. Okay, so Libra. Libra. Okay, we get the card of strength here. Okay, card of strength. Okay, so this is Leo energy, as you can see. Again, this is number 8, so they follow each other. So Libra, where do you find your strength, your courage, your daring, your fortitude? You need to be center stage. You need to take center stage. You need to find your power. Okay, now this card is a very powerful card. The woman representing the anima or the soul with an infinity symbol over her head, like the magician has. Got to pay attention to what those symbols means, but she knows all time is now, Libra. So you can change anything, past, present, and future, by knowing what your strengths are in it and playing to your strengths, not trying to accommodate everybody else, playing to your strengths, okay? So courage, what do you need to speak out about? You're always in injustices and justice and trying to be the go-between, the peacemaker, the ambassador. So use your strengths to the best of your ability to try and be the peacemaker under very difficult situations right now in the world, okay? So bring the strength you have to bear, and also the need to strengthen your will, okay? Libras always tend to rely on other people. That's why they need to learn to be the opposite, which is Aries, okay? Leo's a fire sign, so of course Leo and Aries are in this nice trine supportive fire energy. So where is your passion, Libra? This could be a new passion, a new desire, a new love affair. Could be anything. Could be an old one rekindling again. Again, play to your strengths, your courage, your daring. Be the lioness, roar, roar for what turns you on, okay? So Libra, strength, courage, and heart, okay? And being like the child, okay? So Scorpio, now of course we're going to get into Scorpio season. So with Mars entering Scorpio, Sun entering Scorpio, it's definitely October begins to shape up to be your month. Okay, so Scorpio, you get the devil here. All right, so Scorpio is a very deep sign. I feel like Scorpio is always the most intense sign of the zodiac because all people who are sun, moon, rising, Scorpios, lots of planets of Scorpios, you came here to do some very deep soul work. That's what Scorpio is all about. So the devil is about projection. So this is, soul work is the shadow work, and the devil is related to the shadow. This is an old-fashioned way of talking about our shadows is the devil. This is a Christian church kind of created the devil. There is, of course, evil, negative forces out there. The devil, again, what are you projecting out onto other people that you need to look at in yourself? So all those people you're putting down out there for whatever, this is a shadow aspect of you, okay? So whatever that is, and it works both ways. So what also are you think you're chained to, Scorpio, that you're not? If you look at this card very closely, the devil is another aspect of the lovers. So even though the lovers seem to be, or they think they're chained together, they're not. They're always free. So you're never stuck. You're never chained to anything. You have to learn to laugh at the devil. Don't buy into the material things only. People are very superficial these days. You have to look below the surface. We're really all here on a soul journey to evolve our souls. Material things are, yes, we need them. Yes, they can be important. Yes, if you have more money, you can help other people if you're in that vein. But really, it's not about that. It's about doing the deep soul work, looking at your own shadows. What is it I'm most afraid of? What scares the bejesus out of me? I'm not, do I believe in hell? Do I think there's a sin state? Have I totally thought that that's not true anymore? Not that there's sin in the Christian church. It's just about balance and about there's things that are positive and whole, okay? And there's things that are not. So learning to trust your instincts about this, this is Capricorn energy again, so it has to do with your career. If your boss or some authority figure, it can be your father, again, it relates to Capricorn, is driving you crazy, then hey, Scorpio energy will give you the power to say, nope, sorry, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not buying into this illusion And the whole thing about the devil is it is about feeling separate. And of course, what everybody's been going through over the last year and a half is, yeah, being separate physically, but ultimately we are not separate at all. And this is the big spiritual lesson of this. We are not separate. We don't need this technology. If we learn to tap into our own intuition, into being able to be telepathic and to be able to be the fly on the wall, we don't need this technology. So remember that you are never alone. You're always connected to your higher self, okay, your holy guardian angel. You don't have to listen to the devil kind of nattering away in whatever form the devil is trying to keep you from really being your soul essence, okay? So Scorpio, the devil. All right. Now, some of these, of course, are longer than others, depending on, what I'm picking up here, okay? All right, so Sagittarius. Now, again, Venus going to Sag, very nice for Sagittarians. Okay, so Sagittarius, you get the High Priestess here. Now, the number 2 in the tarot, this is my soul number, my life path number, my personality number. That's why I wear my High Priestess hat, and I have been initiated as a High Priestess. But for Sagittarius, the High Priestess is about being the mediator, kind of sitting in the liminal or the twilight zone, the twilight worlds, in between light and dark. And so it might be good for you to meditate just as the sun goes down wherever you are in the world. You know what I mean? That's a very powerful time. If you want to get up early, like all the holy people do, whatever time dawn is, just as the light begins to rise, those are very holy, special times. Listen to your dreams. The High Priestess, Sagittarius, is telling you to pay attention to your dreams, to incubate your dreams before you go to sleep at night. Tell yourself, I will be awake in my dreams. I will remember my dreams, and to really pay attention, write them down or keep your phone on, record them. You can wake up in the middle of the night and go, wait, where was I right now? What was I dreaming about? And practice lucid dreaming, practice being able to go back into the dream, okay? So things will be revealed. It also gives you the gift of having enormous emotional strength. The High Priestess is related to the new moon, so maybe you want to pay attention to this new moon very importantly. And sit back and reflect. High Priestess, she's really super receptive. Venus and Sag, yeah, you want to get going, lots of energy, fiery, let's move, let's learn, let's travel. But this is also telling you to be balanced. The number 2 is always about balance and communications and relationships. You need to also reflect and always listen to your intuition. I know I sound like I'm a broken record here sometimes, but that's what the tarot is all about. Okay, so Sagittarius, be the High Priestess in October. All right, so Capricorn. So Capricorn, let's see what you've got here. Okay, Cappies. All right. Capricorn, you get the Magician here. Okay. So as Saturn turns direct in a few days, you get the Magician, Capricorn. So you are the magic. The magic wand is your mind, your consciousness, what you put out there, your new intentions. So definitely I would take the position of the Magician. So these cards can be used as meditative devices. He is holding up, I know it's reversed here, of course, he's holding up a wand or a dorje or something that balances both worlds, as above, so below. And he's pointing his finger down to the earth. And the energy goes right through the heart chakra, okay? And so definitely feel like you're that conduit. I know Capricorns, you're very practical and very, rooted in the earth plane. This tells you to, especially while Mercury is retrograde, because the Magician is Mercury, really understand how your mind, your consciousness, and bringing things into physicality works. So the power of your intentions. So if you've never done that before, this may be a good time for you to do that. Learn to meditate, learn to understand how your mind works, watch your mind, watch it go through all its machinations, okay? And start to initiate something new. Magician. Now, Pluto, for those born in the last 4 days of Capricorn, of course, when Pluto turns direct, it'll start to really initiate the push for those last degree Capricorns to really do their stuff, because I believe Pluto is going to be even more intense from now on, especially right into 2022, as the U.S. has its first Pluto return in starting February 20th, 2022, and 2 more times during 2022. So Capricorns born at the last degrees, you're the ones who need to initiate new ideas, new magic, new consciousness, okay? Things that haven't been thought of before, okay? Start your own business, okay? A lot of people, we can see this jobs changing as an opportunity to do something really new. So see it as incredibly creative. Remember, the Magician has the infinity sign over his head, so that's not a halo. This is a sign that all time is now. So also erasing, collapsing timelines, seeing things as new. We're going through a big shift in the world. Okay. You want to be the magician who brings it. Okay. Capricorn, be the magic that you want to see in the world. Okay. So Aquarius. All right. So Aquarius, again, Saturn turning direct, Jupiter turning direct. All right. Aquarius, you get the Hangman here. Now, the number 12 in the tarot, the Hangman, of course, this is right side up. I know most people want to change it around. So what this is, oh, it's funny, I'm watching myself on lag. That's weird. Okay, on my phone, I won't get distracted like that. Okay, the Hangman. So the way you thought things were, turn it upside down. Things are not what they appear to be. This is like, you know, being Alice in Wonderland, going down the rabbit hole, you know, being in the looking glass world. Things are totally different. Okay, so go look at what you're not seeing, like reverse things, turn it upside down. And also, this is a card about letting go, Aquarius. If things are not working for you in the way you want, it's always okay to let go. It's always okay to change direction. Okay, air signs, you know, you blow like the wind, you know. I know you're a fixed sign, and people forget that Aquarius is fixed, I think. You get sort of too stuck in your ideas, your thoughts, your direction. You know, if you're an inventor, you know, how many times do inventors have to abandon, change, you know, apply for that patent a million times, be rejected, okay? So maybe it's just look at your invention, look at what you've created in a new way, but not being a martyr, Aquarius, not being hung up by a certain idea or a certain group that you're connected to. You know, you are a radical individual, so you want to be true to that. Okay. This card really has to do with the Nordic mythologies of Odin, who voluntarily tied his ankle to the world tree, or the tree of life, to really channel the runes, which is the Viking alphabet, and is also used esoterically, runes. So you need to get earthy, you need to get grounded. It's not getting your consciousness from up here, up in the air. It is getting the consciousness from the earth realm, the feminine, the receptive, the grounded. You know, so maybe your ideas need to get grounded, they need to take root. You need to get funding, you need to do something practical. You know, there's many different ways to interpret these cards, okay? So don't be surprised if things get upended or turned upside down, or they're not what you thought they were, okay? Which can be a good thing, okay? Aquarius, the Hangman. Don't hang yourself up. Don't be a martyr, okay? All right, so now we're at Pisces, okay? Save the best for last, right, Pisces? Okay. All right, it's going to be a big year for you next year. You know that, right? Okay. So, all right, Pisces. So you get the card number 14 here. This is the card of temperance, an old-fashioned word. Temperance means bringing two different metals together to create something else. Okay, number 14 in the tarot. In the deck I use, it's also called art or alchemy, turning lead into gold, virtually. So Pisces, where do you need to rebalance out different aspects of yourself? Again, Pisces tend to be martyrs. They tend to be in codependent relationships. They tend to give too much. They tend to be too self-sacrificing. Where do you need to bring balance into your life and into other people's lives? You know, there's so much imbalance and so much polarity. Maybe you act like the guardian angel in this state of affairs right now, or between your family or people you know. Now, it's also can be a holy guardian angel coming into your life, Pisces. So be very aware. If somebody you know has passed on, they're very likely to contact you, and you just have to ask them to show you a sign. They're very likely to come into your dreams and bring you messages. This is also a time to connect to your ancestors who are angels, to work with your angels. You know, Pisces, if you're born in the first 3 days of Pisces, you are connected to the Archangel Gabriel. Okay. Again, angels, just listen to your guardian angels. They will talk to you. You know, you just have to ask, right? So tempering, rebalancing, creative energy, it's art. You know, Pisces are naturally artists. They work with film, with photography, with all creative means, dancing, singing, drumming, shamanic arts. You know, again, what needs to be rebalanced in your work, in your life, what needs to be tempered to be made harder and stronger. That's what tempering does. It makes things stronger. So where do you need to toughen up, Pisces? Okay, so temperance. Quite a beautiful card. You know, whenever angels appear on cards, that's a good sign. All right. So thank you so much, Cosmic Intelligence Agency, and fans here have come from all over. I know this didn't work out on the StreamYard like it was supposed to. I don't know what's happened to Yulia, but I went ahead anyway. I just want to give you a little bit of a personal promo here. Wait, sorry. First, join the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. We've all got 20% off our readings. I still have to put up my new splurge about that, but please join me. I'm doing a new moon astrology magic workshop with that Mars conjunct the moon on October the 5th, and a full moon one. So if you want to find out about that, that's on my website, tarottarot.com. If you want to get in touch with me, I do readings, workshops, mentoring, coaching. So sending you many blessings for October, and see you again next month. Blessings. Bye-bye.